Welcome to the Manders Mindset Podcast. Here you'll find both monologue and interviews of entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, and a variety of other people, where your host Amanda Russo will discuss her own mindset and perspective and her guest's mindset and perspective on the world around us. Manders and her guests will help explain to you how shifting your mindset will shift your life.
Hey guys, welcome back to Amanda's Mindset. As always, I'm your host, Amanda Russo, and I'm here today for a quick word. And I'm going to talk to y'all about what I consider to be the number one thing that everyone should experience at least once in their lives. And that is traveling solo. So for those of you who don't know, I recently went to Bali by myself. Now I went on a retreat and I spent a good portion of my time on said retreat, but I went before and I spent some time after by myself. And now, whether it's out of the country or out of the state or even within your state, there is nothing I recommend more than traveling solo by yourself at least once in your life. And I'm going to tell y'all the top 3 reasons why I highly recommend y'all travel solo at least once. At least once. Number 1, you will learn so much more about yourself. You will learn your strengths, your weaknesses, your fears, your triggers. You will learn so much about yourself by spending this time by yourself and being somewhere you are unfamiliar. I learned one of my interesting strengths is my ability to communicate pretty well with my hands. It's the Italian in me, but being in another country that did not understand me as well or understand English as well, I used my hands a lot to explain what I was trying to say, and it worked out pretty well, surprisingly, in a few different ways. But you will learn so much about yourself as a person as a whole. Why you do things you do, why you behave certain ways that you behave, any and everything. You will just become so much more aware because you're so much more observant by being by yourself and traveling to an unfamiliar location. You know, some weaknesses. It helped me realize my real lack of sense of direction. I knew I had some lack of sense of direction, but I saw that firsthand traveling outside of the country. I got lost twice in Bali within the first 10 hours of being there. But I will also say that by uncovering a weakness of mine, it also helped me uncover a strength of mine when I uncovered the weakness, because that helped me figure out a strength of mine is my ability to ask for help and my ability to figure out creative ways to communicate when the people I'm trying to communicate with don't understand English or don't understand it that well. For example, when I got lost the second time and I ended up finding a police department, police department, and I went inside thinking, okay, maybe they'll be able to direct me. They also had Wi-Fi so I could connect to, kind of point me in some sort of direction. Because otherwise, I had no access to GPS and I was just on foot trying to find my resort. that I had lost. And the first thing I said when I walked into the police department was that I lost. And the first thing one of the officers said to me was, "Why?" And I was like, I mean, I don't know why, because I don't know where my resort is. And he's like, "You're here." And I'm like, I know I'm here, but I don't know how to get to my resort. And he's like, "You don't know where your resort is?" And I'm like, "Gosh, okay. How do I explain that I know where my resort is, but I don't know how to get to my resort from where I am?" And I'm like, okay. And then I pull up my phone and I show him the Wi-Fi. Okay, they help me connect. So I connect, and then I pull him up on my phone where this resort is, and showing them, like, I'm pointing to myself, and I'm like, I'm pointing to where I am, pointing to the ground, like, here I am. Put 2 hands down, and then I'm like, me, and go down, so like I'm here, and I'm like questioning, like, hands up, like, I don't know, and then I'm pointing on my phone to where I'm showing them this is the resort. And he goes, you can't get there. And I was like, "No, I can't get there." And he's like, okay, give me a minute. And I'm like, "Oh my God, what is this? What is he going to do?" Okay. And he's like, "I'll get my friend." So I don't know what he's getting his friend for. I don't know what this means. But okay, I'm sitting in this police department in Bali waiting for this police officer's friend, quote unquote. Not long passes, and then a truck pulls up, a police truck. And so he goes, "Okay, come on." So I get escorted outside by this police officer, and there's a truck, and they let me into the back seat, and I sit in the middle of, there's 2 guys on each side of me, there's 2 people on the front seat, and they're driving me back to this resort. And we're driving for a few minutes, and then one of them says to me, "How do we get there?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's why I'm in here, because I don't know how to get there." And so the guy sitting next to me on the left says, "Here, put it in my phone." So I put the resort in his phone, and then they start following this GPS. Thankfully, they got me there. I don't know how I walked this far, but it was a 12-minute drive from this police department that I was at. Anyways, made it back to the resort. But I uncovered so much about myself. Uncovered some other strengths that I can think creatively and quickly on the fly, even with all of those examples. The second reason y'all need to travel solo is it will really help you grow, and it's going to help you step out of your comfort zone. There is no better way, in my eyes, to grow than traveling somewhere by yourself, because ultimately there will be situations that you have really nobody else and nothing else to rely on but yourself. And I experienced this in Bali, and I experienced this when I went to Utah for breathwork teacher training by myself. And these were my 2 solo travel experiences. And there's just something about them. You grow in a different way. And I know I sound like I don't even know what I'm talking about, but if any of y'all listening to me traveled anywhere by yourself, even if it was for a day, you understand what I'm saying. Because it will just be things, whether it's navigating getting lost, navigating the language, navigating something that you are not experiencing in your familiar territory. And that helps you grow in a different way than just the everyday challenges. You know, if you heard the episode that I did with Brett, where he talked about the Musagi that he challenges people to do, and that's one really hard thing each year, and it's mentally, physically, emotionally challenging. And traveling solo achieves all of that. Oh, it'll help you grow. And number 3 of the top 3 reasons y'all need to travel solo is it is the ultimate way to have and gain self-trust and self-confidence. Because whether it's navigating your way getting there, navigating your way on the flight, through the airport, through customs, whatever it may be, because you are navigating being in an unfamiliar location, unfamiliar territory by yourself. So there is trust that is going to develop within yourself, showing yourself that you are able to do this, showing yourself you can get around. I showed myself that I could do this. I showed myself, even if I had to navigate and end up asking for help, that I was still able to find my way back and make things work. I also even tested myself, is what I want to call it, days later, when I was then at a different resort with the retreat, and I wanted to go to the gym, and it was off site. It wasn't on the actual resort. And I figured out how to get there, and I knew I wasn't going to have cell phone reception, but I figured out the route beforehand, actually made sense of the route beforehand, and then I walked there, and I tested myself. So that built more self-confidence and trust within myself, because I showed myself that I was able to get myself somewhere in a different country without cell phone reception. So I wasn't using my GPS, get myself there safely by myself, get myself also back safely by myself. And it was just something about doing this individually. And even if it's not in another country, in a location that's outside of your, even if it's not hometown, where you live, your regular vicinity, outside of your everyday, it's going to help you grow. Well, these are just my top 3 reasons why I think everyone needs to travel by themselves. Well, I highly encourage you to take a solo trip somewhere. And I guarantee you, you are likely to learn a lot. You're going to grow, and you're going to gain trust and confidence within yourself. So I hope y'all enjoyed this episode of Amanda's Mindset. And stay tuned, because I will be releasing a longer episode about my experience, takeaways, and everything about my experience in Bali. So stay tuned for that. But thank you guys for listening to another episode of Amanda's Mindset. Until next time.